Welcome, darlings. Dang, I just got hot already. Welcome, welcome. I am Goddess High Priestess Empress Abela Pantera. Welcome to Water into Wine. Quite a bit, few messages been coming in regards to that. And messages regarding any form of affliction and why. Based off of belief systems that has one in this perception that in order to attain healing, in a sense, that one has to, more so from the Chiron perspective of wow, the way everything is just going boom, boom, boom. Not sitting in pain in order to heal, which then causes stagnation or a pause, or one would not be able to experience the essence of being healed. Basically, in the sense of holding space for others, but not allowing yourself to suffer. As we know that there are several biblical texts that move through that narrative. Ooh, 222, 22 on the screen. Saw 5 2s across the screen just now. And we are currently where we at. That was Saturn. So we're in a Jupiter hour. Yeah, integration that leads to expansion. Welcome, Daniela. Welcome. So yes, you can look at the essence of Chiron as each and every one of you's specific placement playing out the crucifixion. The way to you resurrecting from that pain and suffering is detaching from the pain and suffering, which obviously means that you would have to change your perspective as to what it is that you're experiencing when it comes to pain and suffering. You can choose to stay there, or you can become a master of that and heal from it. The story of Chiron is his inability to heal himself from Hydra's venom. That was, he was struck by a bow and arrow of that had poison on it, and unable to heal himself only because of the attachment to the pain. We're going to take this. That's why this started off that way. Okay. Chiron couldn't be unalive due to being immortal. Yes, an arrow from Heracles that was poisoned with Hydra's venom. So, once again, the inability to heal was all due to being attached to the pain. However, Chiron was able to heal many others. This is also where you can see yourself assisting others even when your cup is not full. But that story doesn't have to continue any longer. That's the biggest thing about Neptune going into Aries, where you are recognizing the essence of what it means for you to be an extension of Source. Greetings. Okay, so name it to heal it. If you're the real essence of darkness, be that. I know what that means. The future card comes out sideways. This could be a scenario of not seeing something from a proper angle. Felt that as soon as coming into this live, because something has to be integrated. We'll see what that is. What's at the bottom? Love. Well, the future and love. Because in the true essence of it means that one is evolving. And if you're not evolving, you're stagnant, and you're just as good as the essence of being unalived without the nature to even resurrect and be renewed. And you know, this is gonna get real fun. Only because many are unaware of what's unfolding right now. Many have run out of time too. Because they're no longer part of the cosmic web or the rebirth, and therefore looking to pull on all and anything that they can pull on to survive. When this is the age of knowing and also thriving. It goes beyond just saying know better, do better. It goes beyond it, where one has to now be that. You don't have to worry about the consequences. Because trust and know. Oh, it's getting handled. Telling you. The future card and the waiting card with the dreaming card at the bottom of the deck. Neptune energy. The vibes and energy of this message right now, as per usual, is the essence of the threshold. You can sense those that will dwell in the abyss, and those that would be able to experience the essence of gratitude. What's wild is it's reminding me of premonition and it's on. It's on and popping with the cleanup. It's on and popping with the cleanup. Because healing would no longer respond to the reaction to trauma. Healing will no longer respond or answer to the reaction of trauma. The Scarab, Solomonic lineage, 1033. Divine guidance surrounds you now. 745. Peace that comes through wrestling with shadow and emerge with clarity. Holders of divine will intelligence. Downloads of higher knowledge into language, law, ritual. Wisdom that is not worldly intelligence, but coded in understanding of universal law. Healing will no longer be an answer to trauma. Trauma is not of the universal law. It was made as a human construct, as a response to good or bad, right or wrong. See, over here on this channel, we don't do the right or wrong, good or bad. It's universal law over here, cause and effect. So whatever is said within one's mind, type in within the chat, that is not in connection to universal law, comes with grave consequences. the reason why you see so much of that energy popping up, shit is hilarious, because with your ability to come out of holding on to pain and suffering and allowing yourself to live a life that's healed, you also have an ability, Solomonic lineage, to command spirits, access the angelics, and transmute lower forces through alignment. See, a lot of what is... Oh, I didn't mean to hide you. Give me 1 second. Okay. Didn't mean to hide you, beloved. It was the one right before you. Let's see. So yes, back to this. Cleared. Okay. There's soul memory reactivation at this time that is occurring. Due to an unlocking of the root chakra, the use of the solar plexus connecting to your willpower to connect to the direction of your soul's library, also known as the Akashic or Akasha, the Akashic records or your Akasha. Here's what's coming through here right now. There's this energy of part of the collective feeling a bit overwhelmed. Not that you can't handle what's unfolding or the signs that you're receiving. It's happening at a much rapid rate. What I can say from this is that some of you are tuning in to the depths of what it means to feel, or your extrasensory perception. So part of that overwhelming energy may come from those that at one point were unable to see that what you were stating to them prior to this moment, this current moment, they're now seeing everything and all that you were saying. Where certain situations have come true, basically, that you may have predicted, in a sense. So, make sure you are doing some form of exercise that allows you to detox through sweat, doing your breathing exercises, because the energy is only going to get a lot more heightened. It's not going to decrease ever. That's a great thing. But the first portion of it is establishing the foundation. Okay? There's a lot going on with those who were carrying distorted memories that's being shifted into a sacred direction. Meaning, majority of the collective may not be prepared for that, but you don't have a choice to be prepared, which is still okay, especially when there is a reactivation of your soul's memory. It's not a thing whether it's going to be easy or harder. It's just what it is. Because you see what's going on here too. With Chiron, despite the agony, this is the part of you that inspires, leads, uplift others, despite the agony. Yet, that wound, the depths, the deepest wound that hasn't been touched within is coming right up to the surface to be seen, held, and handled. When you can name it, you can handle it. And release what no longer serves you. To be able to step fully into your power. This part is not about taking your power back. This power you haven't really yet experienced yet. There's nothing to take back. Something to step into. Okay. So, the best part about this energy, this is where one can no longer do what's comfortable as far as spiritual bypassing. It's easy to do. Spiritual bypassing would come across as you hear all these different things when it comes to different belief systems, but one has been afraid to fully take on what one knows when asking questions, when the soul hasn't yet to say yes to what has been programmed into one's essence that is not once again of that soul. Each of your Chiron placements is where you can see the essence of your esoteric and metaphysical structure when it comes to where you don't have to unalive or discontinue living a life of joy to save others, where one doesn't have to suffer so that others can be uplifted. Chiron placement shows you that wound, and when you know it, you got two options: to do something about it, or it's gonna do you. That's all. I guarantee you that in understanding your Chiron placements, some of you would see that a lot of these arguments or miscommunication, emotional loops, karmic loops that one is in is overdue. What's overdue is leaving that cycle. You can't enter a doorway or exit if you don't know where it is. It'll get you right to the seed that created the roots of what it is that, in most cases, you are experiencing internally, emotionally, that no one is supposed to understand but you. And it's in your understanding that you can live a life of true, unconditional love. Because without knowing what that is, love becomes more conditional. There's more of a like situation, which is now you lying to your own personal vision or having distorted vision that you claim as true. That letter K in between that I and the E, what your life is showing you an example of your vision, is a lie when you utilize that word like. Obviously, when making adjustments to the way you, as a god or goddess, create the reality you're in, there's obviously going to have to be a shift in the type of environments that you go into. But what's the issue with the collective in doing that? Too many are attached to drama, arguments, gossip, things that prevent personal development and growth. And it's until one recognizes that's what's happening that one will stop. Some are ignorant enough to not stop. Now, if you collective have something or someone of that nature, you're the one that has to make the decision. Are you going to remain in that environment, or are you going to exit? Because you know which one it is now. You know where it's at. So as mentioned before, you can't do anything about, what the situation is if you don't know where the door is to enter or exit. You know where the door is. To live a life where your nervous system is intact, it's not a complicated task. You can choose for it to be based on the decisions one makes. Every decision you make is pointing you towards a different destination. The sum of those destinations, the sum of that destiny creates your fate. You're constantly weaving. But if you don't recognize that you're weaving, then now you're entangled in whatever you allow to be weaved for you. As long as it's being weaved for you, you're in an entanglement that is not serving you. Because that's really all the matrix is. It's the womb of creation. You decide the way that operates for you, the way that is to you. But obviously, if you're coming from a particular background where in order for things to go a certain way so you can live a life of comfortability or a life of comfort, that you have to do such and such and such, and you have to work hard to do it. You only have to work hard to do something when you don't know yourself. Because when you know yourself, you create with ease. Because you just allow yourself to be. Which now takes you to the next point where you don't require validation from anything or anyone outside of you. Now what's shown outside of you is a response to you knowing yourself internally. So when it comes to walking through your dark night of the soul, and this is for those of you that are maybe going through your little situations as someone who's highly spiritually ranked, where you feel as though you're constantly being tested, you're going to have to shut that program down. Okay? Because the only thing that will keep you in that type of space is you're going to have to disconnect yourself, unplug yourself from a certain creation where you're not allowed to have your moment before you can hold sacred space for others. The best part about that stage of one's life where, you know, you're holding sacred space for others while walking through your own dark night of the soul, your solitude, your moment of enlightenment. The best part about that is seeing the way others react to the decisions you have to make to hold space for yourself. Instead of getting pissed off or feeling some type of way about the way certain people move when you're doing what you got to do for you, see it as an example of they're just showing you of how you used to battle yourself when you would not take that time out for yourself. I promise you it'll be easier for you to just move on and do what you have to do. Now, in some cases, some of you may reunite with certain people because they may get it. They may also, you may trigger a certain, you know, evolution in their process. And that's not obviously in all cases and instances when doing so. But when you allow yourself to hold that sacred space for yourself first, you'll be able to now connect to your emotional intelligence and that radar within you that's telling you yes or no when something approaches you, or before it does. Okay, so you'll recognize when it's time for you to flip the script and be there for yourself when you have done so much up to a certain point when it comes from liberating others from their wounds. The moment you recognize that you are still experiencing something in your reality that you have just assisted someone out of to any degree, that is your cue. You need to do the same for yourself and be more than okay with that. Now, this is where there are a lot of generational wounds, in the sense of doing so much for others before one can take care of themselves. Especially maternal energy, whether it's a mother's mother or father's mother. Some of you may have noticed how expressive the children are now, in the sense that the mother or father can have a conversation with that child where now the child is responding to them as if they were the parent, giving them words of affirmation and letting them know, you know, how great they are, not just from what they do for them as the parent to the child, but the child also seeing how the parent is to themselves. This is where there's a switch in the dynamic and generations, especially these Pluto and Aquarius babies. They're completely different. Pluto and Capricorn, completely different. They're watching you. Even some of you, you've watched how some of your parents move in a certain way, but where you as expressive to a degree where you will liberate them out and through a situation, possibly not, because you possibly told you too young to be saying this and too young to be saying that, probably got popped across your mouth because you minding grown folks' business, you know, that type of talk. It's something as simple as that. That creates a reality that didn't have to be when it comes to that generation or that lineage moving forward, but not so much moving forward because that type of dynamic where one cannot express themselves because of a age situation, yeah, had to stay in a child's place, when the child's place is more connected to the divine than these adulterated versions of humans, because they're so indoctrinated. Not throwing no shade, because it ain't sunny right now. However, just stating what the fact is, between, especially children between 0 and 7. Yes, even a newborn who, some newborns today saying mama and dada already and just moving real quick. Why is that? Well, there's a heightened sense of awareness when it comes to this particular realm, this planet called Earth. Souls are coming in connected to it because they're connected to the heart. Same word, earth and heart. Just put the H to the front or to the back, wherever, however which way you want to say that. But same word, just the H is in a different place. But the key factor of that word is that this is turned on, the ears, which is closest to one's temples, which is where the essence of source dwells. So whether it's a newborn or those of you who are already here, that's being activated at a much rapid rate. Some of you already have that activation. And as mentioned before, you could be feeling a little overwhelmed. Right? Don't. I'm not going to say you don't feel overwhelmed. You feel the way you feel. However, I will say this. Just keep in mind and realign with your heart that things are moving much faster when it comes to getting your answer. All you must do is pay attention, because nature will be speaking to you loud and clear. So, I feel dizzy sometimes. Hydrate. At least half of your body weight in ounces. Now, when speaking of detaching, detachment is not ignoring, okay? It is acknowledging what's there without becoming it. So, let's keep that in mind. Are we done here? I got a little deep. You want to switch the reality that you're in, the matrix that you allow yourself to be reborn in and out of. Be mindful as to the way you're creating your identity. Gratitude. The way you create your identity is by what you say after I am, and what it is that you're constantly around that expresses a certain spell over itself, and because you're there, it's expressing it over you too. Because energy is constantly being transformed. This is what it also means for the placement of Pluto in Aquarius. You as the people have your power back. But certain things that prevent you from doing so will have to be destroyed. or dissolved into ashes so that there can be new growth. Free spirit comes out in abundance, awareness. Wow. So that's a major one right there. Awareness, free spirit with the truth and awareness back to back, and blessings. I'm seeing people play double dutch, but what the message is, there's this in and out of one being free in spirit because they're connected to their soul, to stepping back into a reality that is keeping it in bondage or feeling confined, feeling as though you cannot create effortlessly. So make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, 818, make sure whatever it is that you're doing, you feel the essence of you tapping into your creativity. Because that's what's going to allow you to thrive in the way the planet is evolving rapidly. So yes, some of you may have to make adjustments here. That's okay. Just make the adjustments. If you don't want to get caught up in these narratives where the world gonna end and all this other shit. When the world is really just a box. And every end leads to a new beginning. And not stepping into the new beginning is a prime example of doing things out of suffering and pain so others can be liberated. Choosing to stop. So the essence of water into wine literally means that you transform that pain into something that you enjoy. You let it breathe. You tap into your strength, your courage, your liberty. That's what that means. Water into wine. Transformation, transmutation, transcendence of your emotions for the highest purpose. Wow. That leads you to mental clarity. 11. Visionary. Awareness twice. Ace of Swords, who's that? Air signs. Chiron and Gemini. If you're someone with Chiron and Gemini, make you aware of this. Your wound is your voice. When you suppress your truth, you enable pain. When you misuse your words, you enable pain. Scattered thoughts enable pain. When you're working on your shadow, Chiron and Gemini, healing the wound of your voice. You have to let go of the fear of sounding stupid. So you need to go back to when you had your first experience that you didn't feel rooted, grounded, supported, now also unable to trust. That puts you in this state of fear of sounding stupid, misunderstood, or ignored. In order to heal your voice, Chiron and Gemini placements, communicate authentically. Become the storyteller. Know that your voice is a bridge between hearts. So speak it. But as long as you have a fear of sounding stupid, those of you with a Chiron and Gemini placement, that's just you being attached to the pain. Those of you who have Chiron and Libra, your wound would be harmony. Part of your shadow work, Chiron and Libra, has to do with working on matters of people pleasing, codependency, or abandonment trauma. Remember, as we shift, healing is not going to respond to trauma. This ain't the age of Pisces. This wound of harmony connects to the pain of losing yourself in the mirror of others. Relationships. Losing yourself in relationships, Chiron and Libra. To heal that wound, you're going to have to step into the essence of sovereign love and boundaried relationships. So in order for you to have harmony in your relationships, you're going to have that harmony of relationship within yourself, within your thoughts and your intuition. Masculine, feminine. So you don't lose yourself when you get into relationships. Chiron and Aquarius, your wound is of belonging. When you are doing the shadow work, Chiron and Aquarius, to heal, the way that is seen or the way it appears is you working on why is it that you feel as though you're an outsider or an alien or misunderstood when you are a whole genius. No one is, you got Chiron in Aquarius, no one is supposed to understand you. You're an inventor. A lot of the pain for you, Chiron in Aquarius, comes from rejection from groups or society. To heal, embrace your uniqueness so you can become a magnetic attraction to that same uniqueness. Because as a Chiron in Aquarius, the groups that you are attracting and you're still holding on to that wound, you're going to be attracting groups or networks of people where they don't understand your genius. Remember, the main thing that you're always going to hear on this channel, Chiron and Aquarius, welcome. You're not here to be understood by anyone but yourself. Once you allow yourself to dwell in that space, I promise you your life will move much smoother. Yes, it'll move much smoother. Earth signs, because the Seven of Pentacles was at the bottom of the deck. If you are someone with Chiron and Taurus, if you are someone with Chiron and Taurus, that person must have Chiron and Virgo, actually. That's the type of language, actually, for real, for real. Chiron and Taurus, your wound is of worth. And the pain comes from feeling unworthy, abandoned, or deprived. You doing the shadow work to heal. You doing the shadow work. Yo, see, this the type of intel. Because as long as, before I go into the earth signs, which is significant, because a lot will demolish in terms of systems if the collective is no longer in pain. Look at how many systems are built to keep humanity in pain, or disregarding the solution to heal it, not treat it, to heal it. So Chiron and Taurus, you are here to release the wound of worth. Your shadow work is working on your attachment to material security, to feel safe or lovable. Those with Chiron and Taurus tend to utilize their finances to feel loved or to be seen, because of the feeling, from the pain of feeling unworthy, abandoned, or deprived. To heal that, Chiron and Taurus, reclaim your natural abundance. Now, because you are an earth sign, that means tap back in with your heart. Tap back into, and stay there, into sensual self-care. Embody pleasure. Be the embodiment of pleasure. And thereafter, my love, I promise you, you'll be feeling more than worthy. Because your next step is getting acclimated with, being taken care of. Because your value is seen very clearly. Because you, Chiron and Taurus, your essence is your currency. The money's fine, but it's you that carries a much stronger value than it. Especially you, Chiron and Taurus. See, that's a statement that you can hear quite often, but it's more so when we're looking at it from an astrological standpoint. That's more of a statement for one who has Chiron and Taurus and doesn't see what that truly means. I mean, it could be for anyone, but precisely, yeah, those who have Chiron and Taurus may not even be around much of conversations that hold that level of verbiage. Where you coming from? It's the shit that we say. It don't make no sense. But for some of you, a birthmark could be significant if you have Chiron and Taurus. Anyway, Chiron and Virgo, you carry the wound of perfection. So, and this is shown through pain of feeling broken, impure, or not good enough. You doing the shadow work, it would be you working on what it is that you obsess about when it comes to over fixing things or over analyzing or shame spirals that you step into. Now, shame will be connected to your gut, which now means you have issues expressing yourself. So, to heal that, be compassionate in service without removing your true essence and your divine blueprint that is of imperfection. Because it naturally just flows through your nervous system. Your sacred imperfection is your divine blueprint, Chiron and Virgo. So, let's say part of your plan or legacy is to be some form of playing out a role that you would have to be the center of attention. So Leo energy. You obsessing about the way things are going to go is what's keeping you away from that authenticity. And it's the imperfection that's the sweet spot. So just flow with it. Okay. Chiron and Capricorn, you carry the wound of responsibility. You could be an earth air sign from what this is talking through here as well. The wound of responsibility for Chiron and Capricorn. The pain is seen through the rejection you've experienced by your father figure, systems, or divine order. Your shadow work is you working on your habits of overworking, hyper-independence, and your fear of failure. So you would literally have to step out. You more than anybody, I would say, because of that fear of failure, because you're sitting in that energy of right or wrong, good or bad, which will exacerbate that fear, you have to create a different structure for yourself. So stepping out of what prevents you from even having that level of critical thinking, where now you hold yourself more accountable for even having the father that you have, just to put you in that space of flipping the switch or flipping the script. So work on that. Work on that. And it may even, fix your relationship with your father because you're aware of it. Okay? To heal, Chiron and Capricorn, redefine what success means for you and your sacred structure. We already mentioned that. Know that you are your own authority. You are your own authority. And that same rejection you may have received from a father, a system, or divine order has to do with this is your ingredients to make a switch to the elixir itself, to bring forth an evolved or a new order. Ooh, structure. Interesting. Let's see. We already did air and earth because that's what came through here. Let's go to fire awareness. Well, after fire, we'll go to water. Fire signs. The first one is where it's at now. So the collective, this is a collective message because Chiron is in Aries right now, which is the wound of identity. So the elixir right away, if the wound is identity, what's going to heal that wound is what changes the identity. And Aries also connects to life force energy, or the blood, or the water that's within the blood. But water also is released when you're saying something out of your mouth. You may not see it, but water is all around. So to heal that wound of identity, one has to be mindful as to what one is labeling themselves as. Because once again, with Neptune being in Aries and hasn't been there since the 1700s, this is why a lot of these ancestral perceptions or ways of doing things is coming to the surface, so that way being is much more of the scenario, being who you say you are. And with Neptune and Aries is basically the verbiage of Neptune having a connection to your dream state, your imagination. Aries, you are that. The I am that I am. And what do you see the most along different platforms? The different conversations that have to do with those who are aware of their true divine essence and those who want to be in bondage or have something that is basically controlling them or is coming to save them, when them showing up here is the essence of that savior. So one is to save themselves. So the collective is working on, who are you without proving yourself? Who are you without proving yourself to yourself or others? Who are you in just being? Some may even have to take PTO to even sit there and really and sit with that and figure that out. Because one has possibly not have had enough time to even sit with that idea of who are you really without proving yourself. Because every system, when it comes to doing something that's right or wrong, good or bad, has everyone out of the essence of being an extension of the Most High Source, whatever you want to call, that greater energy. Who are you without proving yourself? That can easily be, for some, a boring life, because there is a disconnect. That the most fun part about this is that you have the breath of life in you to even do all the other extra shit that may not even be, that is not conducive to oneself in matters of personal development. So the pain that comes for this energy, the way this plays out, the pain is feeling unseen, rejected, or silenced when asserting oneself. So to heal that wound from that pain is really just as simple as, the reason why a person would assert themselves is because one is now proving themselves. Now, this is not something to take as in the sense of using the word assert or assertive. It's not about being lazy. It's just more so be in the flow of the river, for real. Okay. So to heal this, one would just have to step into their authenticity without requiring validation. Your existence is enough. The fact that you're here is enough. But an idiot came onto this planet and got bored with that notion. And this is why shit's all scrambled up right now. To the point where some people can't be authentic, which leads them to stepping into the field of comparison, comparing themselves with what they do to another, what this person is doing. They don't have to do this to do that, and things of that nature, especially when it comes to divination tools, where some people feel as though I don't have to use cards to do this. And that type of verbiage is already known that that person is not in alignment to their solar plexus and is all fucked up in that area. Because comparison is a thief of all joy. So being connected to one's solar plexus, that's not even the thing at that point if there is that level of comparison. Just be yourself. You ain't got to prove anything to anyone. If you're great at what you do, be great at what you do. And help others do the same. By you just being the most authentic expression and version of you. That's all. Chiron and Leo, your wound is of visibility. Due to the pain that has come from betrayal, feeling ridiculed or being ridiculed, or invalidation when expressing joy. Those of you with Chiron and Leo, you're strongly feeling this energy of the Neptune and Saturn shifts going into Aries and then back into Pisces, because it's taking you out of the energy of performance and just being authentic. Because the creator doesn't have to compete. The true creator doesn't have to compete. Too productive creating, not too busy. Busy doesn't get no signal. So with Chiron and Leo and the wound of visibility, stop hiding your brilliance or forcing performance or forcing others to see your brilliance just to earn love. Tell you one thing about that beautiful word right there. You have it for yourself. You'll have it outside of you, but you really truly won't have it for self if you don't have it for you. So reclaim play in your divine self-expression, Chiron and Leo. Allow your light to do exactly what it does. Shine and liberate others. Allow those moments of betrayal and where people didn't see you for all that you were to be your fuel. So that's exactly what it's there for. Stop being so soft, Chiron and Leo. I could talk to my fellow fire signs that way because y'all already know the vibes. Chiron and Sag, you have the wound of truth due to cultural exile and philosophical disillusionment. Ain't that about it? What year was that? So from 2020 to 2022, if that's when the North Node was in Gemini, South Node was in Sagittarius, Chiron in Sagittarius, you felt that quite a bit then, where you had no choice, or you went through situations of releasing dogma, matters of escapism, or the fear of being wrong. You too. That fear of being wrong, remove that with universal law. There ain't no right or wrong, good or bad, and up in that one. It's just cause and effect. What you're feeling and your thoughts are is creating the experience. So make the adjustments so you can have more control over what it is that you're feeling, be able to better assess what it is that you're feeling, to recalibrate your thoughts so the reality that you experience is what you desire. Not what you want, what you desire. There's a difference. Not what you want or need, what you desire. Okay. And water. Chiron in Cancer. You carry the wound of nurture that came from rejection, abandonment, or ancestral trauma. So allow that trauma to come to the surface, and remember, the healing moving forward is not going to respond to that trauma. So you too, Chiron in Cancer, stop being soft. Because mama didn't do this, or you didn't feel emotionally safe, use it. I have that placement. I have Chiron in Cancer in the 12th house. So for any of you, not being able to heal or making excuses for yourself is a choice you're making. It's legit a choice you're making. Don't make the same mistakes that your ancestors were so delighted that you were stepping into this world to help with the bloodline. Once they realized, when they went into the next dimension, or whichever dimension that they've landed in, and they recognize what your role is, what their role was, because I'm not going to say they didn't complete it, because each one has their own particular book or page to write. Just for the evolution of the soul. That's the main part as to why when you speak of ancestors and them dwelling within you, they're within the essence of your soul. And the purpose of being here on this planet is to evolve it. And the way to evolve through certain situations is through love. I'm not saying, see, as a warrior, there's certain things that are not of that all that is source, because there are other sources that come from source that carry a certain level or different vibration, that now that love can be a love from a distance, because we're not going to sit here and talk about there's a part where you have, you know, enemies that are external to you. The majority of the collective are going through situations where they're handling the inner version that's just showing itself out itself. Because then once you get into that next realm of reality, you now begin to realize the difference. This is expounding onto who much is given, much is required, where you have to be more aware of your own crown and your own essence, your own flame. But that evolution of that awareness doesn't expand if one is still going through some level of pain, calling it trauma. Everybody has experiences. I get it. But this is why I say this channel here ain't for everybody. Because we're not going to be sitting here making the same excuses why this person did this to that person. They did this to X, Y, and Z. And this is why you keep making excuses. You keep that story going. So who's going to close the shit? So now the essence of the soul can evolve now. Finally. So, as a Chiron in Cancer, you just want to be safe within your own tenderness. To heal your inner mother. You become your own mother. You become your own emotional safety. You rebuild your own sacred home. You rebuild the root to the sacred. You rebuild it by having awareness as to, okay, there was rejection, there was abandonment, there were certain ancestral things that went on there. You within your own body and vessel with blood and water within you can feel it as if it was happening right at that moment. See, that's another issue with the systems that are built to keep people in pain. Everybody doesn't have the same type of wound. But as long as there's a narrative where there is this type of wound and people are unable to differentiate if this is something that is of resonance to them, then now this is why on a much grander scale there are, energies of wounds constantly being repeated over and over and over again, because one is not choosing to utilize certain tools that they can have a conversation with themselves to attain that clarity as to, oh, okay, this is why this is happening. This is why this is happening. For instance, your natal chart, your numerology, your human design, galactic signature, your gene codes, things of that nature. But as long as someone is being asked, oh, do you truly believe in this? And believing in something don't even matter at this point. It's either it's something that works for you or it doesn't. Okay? So, working on your shadow work, Chiron and Cancer, you will have to work on matters where you are overgiven or emotionally withdrawing to avoid vulnerability. Once you get all that out, all of that up and out the way, you can now feel that safety within your own tenderness. Okay? Scorpio. Chiron in Scorpio. If you have Chiron in Scorpio, you have the wound of trust. Oof. Chiron in Scorpio. If you look at your money, and as an extension of source, as a god or goddess, you look at your money, Chiron in Cancer. Let's say you're going through some level of financial issues. You look at your money, it says, in God we trust, pay attention. If your wound is trust, as a god or goddess, and you have Chiron in Scorpio, experiencing financial issues, all you're going to have to do is integrate your shadow. Basically, You're going to have to release all these experiences that have to do with emotional invasion or a sense of loss. Work on, what causes you to step into certain power struggles or re-enter certain emotional loops of betrayal. Secrecy is also a thing for you too, Chiron and Scorpio. You have an erotic innocence about you. So to heal, you're going to have to utilize your vulnerability, because that's where your invincibility is. Okay, so that was specific to someone who is going to come across this with the Chiron and Scorpio, going through some level of financial issues because you choose to. You heal that wound of trust. Allow yourself to be in safe spaces of being vulnerable. And watch how your reflection, that Venusian energy of Taurus, flows right to you. Hmm. Allow yourself to be in safe spaces. 6B, I'm seeing 6B over there, and it's through a Florida water bottle. 6B. Chiron and Pisces carry the wound of separation. Through the pain of feeling spiritually lost and abandoned by the divine. You're going to have to step out of that victimhood martyrdom syndrome and stepping into things and merging with it without boundaries. And work on what it is you choose to do to escape things of Pisces area. Alcohol is included in that too. And external substances. When that wound of separation is being triggered for you, Chiron and Pisces, that's what you tend to go towards. Or something that allows you to not go into the depths of your emotions. When going to the depths of your oceans, because you are the ocean, is where you recognize that nothing is separate. For you, Chiron and Pisces, I would highly suggest getting familiar with what each dimension truly means. That when you're living in a 3D, for you, Chiron and Pisces, it makes it harder for you to manifest from your imaginations because things are so separate. You have to step into the heart space and bring it all together, so now when you're speaking or into the fifth dimension, it can become a reality and something you can touch and grab. Okay? In order for you to heal, just reunite with Source by embodying Source. What you felt abandoned by is due to self-abandonment. Just embody it. Chef's kiss. Okay. So, that was everybody. House sway. We went through all of the elements, the essence of Chiron, for this exact reason, That was basically the temperance stage. You knowing about that will allow you to be tempered before you are approached with a situation that may tempt you to be stuck in a situation all over again, instead of moving on and allowing the universe to move you out and through it and out of it smoothly too, for you to be able to see the opening, the exit. Chiron is the key. Literally, the glyph of Chiron is a key. Allowing you to become the fifth pillar. Which means there's activations of all of your chakras, which allows you to become more aware as to which direction to go, where you'll have triumphant success. Awareness of the truth, because in order to have or connect to the truth, you have to be aligned. Memories, contemplation. So again, you reached here to this channel. You don't have any more time for excuses. There's too much information to help you to rise from the ashes, transform and regenerate. 25/7 completion. 92:19 on the clock. The links. Ooh, keeper of secrets. Find hidden truth, follow your intuition. Wow. The keeper of secrets. Something is coming from the root of your belly. It just came out, the root of your belly. Some of you are craving certain foods. You can look into what is it within ancient texts that connects to either the origin of it or a deity that is connected to it, because it's also something that you are remembering within yourself. It's not necessarily to worship that deity, it's for you to recognize that craving is coming from a remembrance of a hidden truth that is within you. Unicorn, I know that's right. Know that magic is true through the purity of your heart. Beautiful unicorn. Awareness. They're looking right at each other. 323. That's Mars in Aries, first decan Aries. The equinox. Grow from the seeds planted. Whoa, because this is clarifying this awareness card, which is the Magician. So what is this that's being what was manifested, aka summoned? We got the hawk. Wow. A higher truth. Yeah, there's something here regarding awakening of divine perception. Okay. Then you got the Griffin. Somebody watched Harry Potter recently. Because I'm seeing when they were going through the wall to go to Hogwarts. Balance strength and wisdom. Fight with honor. So choose your battles wisely. 26 in Gematria is a God number. And that's clarifying temptation. Can't make this shit up not one bit. So let's say, let me see. I'm seeing 6 and 8. Chiron in the 6th house is the activation of the somatic priest and priestess. You help others heal through holistic devotion. You have the cure to whatever situation you are experiencing with your health. Chiron in the 6th house. As far as this 8th house energy that's pulling through, you're the shadow alchemist. You're here to help others face taboo and rise through it. You may have experienced some form of sexual trauma, betrayal, current debts, or psychic overwhelm. That's where that overwhelmed energy was coming from. It's coming through more so as a psychic interference. Not so much an attack, more of an interference. But you're aware of this. You just, because you're aware of it, the next card is move on. Embrace the challenge, see it for what it is. The horse is here. Embrace the change and embrace the adventure. 11. There's 11 here at the beginning with the Ace of Swords and the Magician card that came out at the beginning. So in order for you to move on, that's what came through at the beginning. Make sure you're doing some form of strength routine along with breath work with intentions of clarity. Okay, because nature is going to be speaking, or your environment is going to be speaking to you loud and clear. You won't be able to miss it. So much so that that overwhelming sensation is more so get more in alignment to inspired action. Don't delay any form of inspired action. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'm gonna do it later. There's a reason why, you know, especially when you're in a position that you can do it and you just choose to be lazy and not move, you know, and not take that inspired action. Something as simple as, okay, you said you was going to do laundry whenever at this time. That day, that lucid moment comes around, that time comes around, you're not feeling up to doing it. You got that inspired action to do it then, because even just the smell of your detergent could actually, you know, connect you to more information of a hidden truth. But you doing something because, not doing something because it's so mundane, you think there isn't a connection to it. Nah, there is. There is. Find strength and calmness and reflection. Yeah. Sure. The bear. One more. The eagle. Shit. Soar high, lead with clarity and vision. Yeah, so there's certainly something here in regards to the most mundane things that you do is leading you to the information that you've been seeking, or the clarity that you've been seeking. So what I just got was, take it step by step. They didn't take it step by step, so it piled up into one. They can still do it, but that's why they're overwhelmed. And the ladybug, 44. Yeah. This could also be why you're seeing 44 quite often. Has something to do here with your foundation. A rebuild of your foundation. Joy in the small, yo. Joy in the small, but in going into what we was just stating just a while ago, that you were taking small, you were inspired, you were receiving the nudge of inspired action in small steps, and you let them pile up. That could be where you're becoming overwhelmed. And this, you getting overwhelmed, the next sign is the number 44 showing up with 844, 944, 744, 344 is just showing up, because that first number is telling you what to do next with that 44. So let's say you're in a situation, you're contemplating, yeah, literally, and you're contemplating, should you remain patient or stay in something, and 944 shows up. Time to close that cycle. Make the adjustments to close that cycle. But that 944 is just giving you that key code, or that code of, we got you, we're here, we're just waiting on you to take the next step. Somebody had that conversation precisely. Yeah, precisely. Sea Eagle. Yeah, about a decision you have to make. Number 20, Judgment. And the Dolphin. 208. That's wild. That's around this energy. That's around the 6 of Swords. Mercury in Aquarius, or Moon in Aquarius. Don't deceive yourself. You've done this same thing before. What is this about? You've done this same thing before. Show me what we talking about. 3 of Wands. When something was on its way, you did the same thing before when something was on its way. What did they do? Spun out. Wow. Yeah, you spun out. It's okay. So, wow, the Empress in reverse though. You was stalled. You stalled on this. You stalled on it. There goes the 323, Mars and Aries. Waiting game. You continue to play the waiting game when your abundance showed up. So tell me, what's this? Okay, so let me get a different deck. Hold on. See if the same message come. What the fuck? The Empress and the Tower. You're ready to leave that old version. Literally ready to leave an old foundation. Okay. What's this being manifested? You don't stall this again. Don't deceive yourself again, especially when it comes to setting up a new, allowing yourself to be who you truly are, because this has to do with the group. You've done this before. You should be able to be more careful and aware and more in tune with your emotions when it comes to energies around you. Something regarding a group of people. Moon in Aquarius. Aquarius has to do with the group of people. You know that something is not for the long term. Aquarius has to do with building for the long term. Humanitarian efforts. There could be something that's out of balance with your humanitarian efforts, where you have to be mindful of each one that you're with. Tell me who you're with and I'll tell you who you are. That type of energy. Because I'm seeing now the 3 of Pentacles, where you have investors on their way to you to make this effortless. This happened before, where you stalled. Queen of Swords, Libra. This could be, for some of you, clearly this is a group of people you're connected to from a past relationship. There could have been a situation of mutual friends, but now you evolve. You see things differently. You don't see things the way you used to, so there's been a lack of balance in these connections. Ace of Cups. This is why it's important not to stall and not allow yourself to move forward, because moving forward also involves new, deep emotional fulfillment. Especially in matters of relationships. Now, some of you, you're something here with projects being stalled because of someone you have a child with, wanting to do what past generations have done, keeping units together, but that is not ideal for where one is going next, or being called to move next. That was all part of the season. Yeah, Four of Cups. Moon in Cancer, literally. Moving the same way your mother used to. Or this could be where, be mindful that what it is that you're manifesting is not to prove to another that all is well. Allow it to just be that all is well. Because it takes away from the pure essence of all is well when it's coming from proving a point. Or just making someone feel safe. Because the thing with, it's similar to when someone is about to go on a trip or take a flight and they're being told, have a safe flight. That's also implementing the energy of it not being safe. Okay, so just be, it could just, one could just easily say, enjoy your flight. Have a great one. But be safe also has, it, because of the vibration that it carries of being safe, it comes from a lower vibration. Enjoyment is a different vibration. Higher, safe, lower. Literally lower. Because safe comes from the root chakra, feeling safe, rooted, grounded, and secure. There's so much coming through. This is why some of these systems have to go, because somebody got bored with the effortlessness of just being. That now someone wants to do too much, create these systems that creates greed and all this other nonsense. Truth. Justice. And it's Libra season. And this is also about that dialogue of love hurts. No, it don't. No, it don't. Liking hurts. Liking hurts. Love don't. When one is in this heavy essence of liking, moving as though they love something, you can't really connect to the purity of that essence of love. Because it may come through as something that is so much, because it's a lot of emotions that comes with it. But if one is not able to be the vessel to hold that because of a lack of safety, it's gonna hurt. Because that, you know, that what's being built is gonna fall every time. Which is another thing, you really don't fall in love either. What we gonna do, y'all? Shit, I know what I'm doing. You know what you're doing. Moving right along. Knight of Wands, Sagittarius, because you see what's up. You want to handle the way you feel safe, rooted, grounded, and supported, and connected to basic energies of trust. Study your Saturn placement. It'll help you rebuild your root chakra, because your Saturn placement, where Saturn rules the root chakra. Speaking of Saturn, Jupiter and Capricorn right here. This will help you to integrate in order to receive your abundance, your legacy, generational wealth. Big time, literally. This is the card of generational wealth, Ten of Pentacles. This will help you to surrender whatever it is that you're holding on to so tightly. Pain that one is holding on so tightly, attaching themselves to it. And then the King of Coins. Wow. Got all three earth signs here. That's who we started. No, that was second. So this is the second time around for a situation. Don't fuck this up this time. Stand your ground. Seven of Wands. Protect your inner child. 11151. Because the King of Pentacles is pre-Emperor energy. And for the Empress to show up, there's an opportunity you didn't see clearly before. You didn't see it clearly. Why? Yeah, that's why the first card out was the future. Sideways. You wasn't seeing something from the proper angle. A higher level of commitment with the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck. Why? Where's the rest of this? Why? Rushing out of a state of solitude. From rushing out of a state of solitude. Something very significant occurred 3 days ago. 9:25. 9:25. 3 lucid moments ago. Breaking free. What about that? Wow. Your stability, your foundation, your money's involved, because it's about you breaking free and doing what it is that you desire to do, and not what you want to do to get to do what you desire to do. Getting out of what you want in connection to what you feel as though you are you're pressured to do. The fear of not being stable. That's why the statement was, let's say you are having to end the cycle in a situation that you're in, having to do with your finances. And 9:44 shows up. It's letting you know it's now time to close the cycle, to set up a new foundation for where you're going next. Because your higher self, your soul is already in that direction, but due to being, having clouded judgment about the 3D, that third dimensional aspect of you is keeping you separated from the fullness of your glory by going towards what it is that you desire. With breaking free and dream. There's something here about you not being able to go towards your dreams. So this could have something to do with some level of ancestral programming that you are still connected to, of a lack mindset. But this shift of Neptune going into Aries is helping you to reclaim your identity by stepping into the realm of where you can create any identity that you so please to. But for some reason, obviously we know what the reasons are, you know, the different religions that keep people separated from themselves, is going to cause you to step into this savior mentality, this victimhood mentality, where now you are unable to connect to the dream before the dream. The dream that many have now is proving that they can do something better than past generations, rather than just being what that is, which will create, you know, a much clearer path to attaining what it is that one is desiring to manifest before all of the, you know, the trauma and the lack of being able to express oneself fully started to seep in as a true reality of oneself. Feelings. Gratitude. This is also going to be another key code. Allow yourself to feel that gratitude for where you've been. Even if it was some form of resistance, that resistance also allowed you to become stronger, but you won't be able to tap into that strength until you tap into the feeling of gratitude. The lack of spiritual hygiene will have people stepping into any old life and asking people to pull from them. I'm telling you, people, the level of discernment I carry is the reason why I move the way I move with these tools. That's also significant in itself, where some of you really carry a strong gift of being a seer and an oracle. And it's not that you can't read for it, just, it's not that you can't in the sense of taking the action to read for someone. It's more so you are aware of where this person mentality is based on their movements, their words, that you save them from themselves and not provide that message because it's not a message they are ready for. Because what one that is ignorant does not, and truly does not want to do with one who is aware of what is unfolding is to ask for a message, and that ignorant one may feel as though it doesn't resonate because they want to sit in their lower vibrations. It's the last thing an ignorant one wants to do, because there are consequences to disregarding that message that that vessel as an extension of source is carrying. It's basically one is placing themselves into a self-inflicted problem because they choose to go towards an energy that is of the eyes of source. And there isn't anything that that vessel has to do towards that person. It is the ignorant one's own doing and thought process that does it to themselves. The ignorance. So Anything else? Sirius, Salket, Anubis. Sheesh. Both of them from the underworld, I'm telling you. Unless you see a message that goes across my screens that I'm doing messages for those of you that are in here, respectfully, don't come up into this chat or any other chat with the lack of awareness and asking for messages. When bookings are open and available, one can do so then. Simple as that. Okay, so now we're gonna keep these here. You got Saturn and Leo that came out. The Royal Pillar of Integrity. If you are someone with Saturn and Leo, you carry the gift of creative leadership with purpose. And here Saturn teaches you the path of ego refinement, to shine not for attention but for soul expression. As one who carries Saturn in Leo, you carry the responsibility of visibility and inspire others through sovereign example. You create in devotion. Your radiance is disciplined fire. After saying everything that was said just now, because the way these messages come through, they're for you to evolve and you make the decisions. So you can be, more of a connection to your own discernment, to trust your own intuition. Okay? So, this Three of Wands is the Sun and Aries card. Now, the Sun placement for you would speak to your soul, your father, and your career, or your destiny that's involved, which has to do with your identity in this case, with the Three of Wands being the Sun in Aries. And with the Empress that came out in reverse, you didn't see your worth before, but there's still an offer on the table. We have Anubis that showed up again. The 30th is in 2 days after Archangel Michael feast day, tomorrow. In this situation of having a lack of harmony in a relationship with the father, it's coming from that father's mother. The truth is there. Reason that's coming through that way with Archangel Michael feast day being on a Monday, that is a moon day. Some of you may even carry the sun sign as a Venus placement of your father. So whatever your father's sun sign is, there may be a connection to that being your Venus sign. You have a Venus in Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Embrace the change. It'll allow you to move forward with grace. Show me the Empress in reverse. The Two of Wands, which is still showing here. So let me see something. Mars in Aries is still showing here, which was at the bottom of the deck previously. What was in front of it? What is she looking at? Queen of Swords. So this has to do with the relationship, speaking up, speaking the truth, waiting. What is this waiting about? Page of Swords. Waiting for new information to feel more secure about the next step. But I'm getting the energy of, once again, you've done this before. The information is not going to change. You have everything in front of you as you must see it. Repeated betrayals. You could have Chiron in the 7th house. 10 of Cups. Waiting for something to become an emotional fulfillment. And remember, the message before was to stop deceiving yourself and not allowing this change to happen with you moving forward, because you moving forward brings you that Ace of Cups that you are waiting to experience in the current situation that is going to constantly having you wait. Or you are waiting for the perfect time to go into the next phase of the higher version of yourself. Two of Wands. The Moon. Not wanting to see something for what it is for real. It's a hidden truth that has already showed itself. Especially with this awareness card that's here. Where someone doesn't have control over themselves. Unable to have control over oneself and one's own thoughts. That emotional fulfillment you're waiting on is in your next phase, not in that old one. The old one will not become that. The Lovers. Sometimes I keep them in here, but depending on the energy, you gotta move. Respectfully, love. Some of you could have Moon in Gemini. So what someone has from maternal figures is the way they process their thoughts. 186, January 86. Or January 8th, 2006 could also be of significance. A decision has to be made here. about a particular cycle. Please choose that new beginning. Because what is uncomfortable for you is bringing in financial prosperity and unconditional love. Financial prosperity and emotional fulfillment. Show me a Ten of Cups. It landed. The Ten of Cups is connected to this generational wealth or this opportunity to receive support emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. Ten of Cups is the Knight of Cups. Is a new love offer. I mean, it is Libra season. So whatever it is that you are manifesting or summoning or calling in, that's what manifestation is, of summoning of something into your life. It's going to reflect where you are at when it comes to a habit or ritual. Your ritual is becoming your character. So from Virgo season, habits, rituals are placing you into significant relationships as a reflection of that. Because those rituals and habits become who you are. The reflection of Libra's Aries. So if you have the resonance to this message and it clicks and you recognize, fuck, I gotta make this adjustment here, this adjustment there. Start within first, because you can do all the changes outside. Basically change the way, changing your nutrition and this, that, or whatever. But if you are not able to handle the emotions that are flowing through you when certain things pop up, none of that shit that you're doing outside of you gonna even matter. Okay? So tell me more about this. Look at that Page of Cups. Wow, this could be someone younger, someone that allows you to feel that energy of being in this innocent state. Okay, so you could have a Chiron and Scorpio with that erotic innocence in a sense. But your Ten of Cups, your emotional fulfillment is connected to you doing things that you enjoy and love to do, that you desire to do. It won't come in if that's not what you're doing. You can have Chiron in the 5th house, the wounded artist. Allow yourself to be seen as the playful person you are. Some of you possibly been in situations or certain dynamics growing up where people around you were too serious. Wanted to create environments that were disciplined, but it did the complete opposite. The Wounded Warrior or Moon in Sagittarius, 9 of Wands. Doing something over and over again, expecting a different result. Now is not the time to hold your truth back. Now is not the time to hold your truth back or waiting for the proper moment to say what it is that you have to say, because your passion is going to be ignited. As you can see, the figure here is holding Ace of Wands behind 8 of Wands, Mercury and Sagittarius. So this is about expressing what you see as the truth. But don't utilize the truth as a weapon. Just align yourself and just speak your truth thoroughly. You may piss people off, but your intention is not to do just that. It's just your truth. And when you're in alignment and at ease with that, whoever feels some type of way about it, it's up to you to decide whether you're going to carry that burden for them and the way they feel about it. Doesn't matter who it is, mother, father, brother, sister, whomever. Allow people to feel what they feel, but that doesn't mean you are the one that have to carry it. It's time for you to step into your true covenant, your true alignment. Say, speak your truth, Queen of Swords. As quickly as this will change, when you decide to break free, it's just as quickly as you have to change the way you express yourself and making sure you're not self-sabotaging what's coming in the way you've done before. And it's just opportunities that allow you to be fertile in your finances, family, amazing health. But you have to see, is something here about someone suppressing emotions. Suppressing emotions. A Cancer sign could be significant where they may not express themselves as much. They hide in their shell quite a bit. Or that is the energy. Self-sabotage card itself. Eight of Swords. Yeah, you have to make sure by wanting to protect what this is that's coming in. This could be a proposal, a business proposal. You want to make sure you're not moving in this energy the same way you may have in the past and creating self-sabotage. Because it's a significant relationship that is of a new contract that's coming in here. This is not the first time, once again. Wow. It's going to put you in a very high position of authority. You got the Devil card here, Capricorn, but you're going to have to step into your inner authority so that way you can receive this level of position to be in a higher authority. No, it's too many. Oh, literally. Okay, so it wants to come out with it. The Devil, which is shown, this is the second time it's showing up. Capricorn energy, followed by moving on. So in order to clear this up, let me see, Chiron in the 10th, that's public image in your career, feeling as though you're never enough and feeling as though you have to prove your worth. You're going to have to change that, the way you identify yourself. The Emperor, Aries energy, you're going to have to change the way you identify yourself. You have a habit of identifying yourself as someone who is never enough. But the way this is set up, this is someone who has, what is this? Enterprises. I'm getting from this. Enterprises, big business energy here. I'm really strongly picking up on someone who, you have people who are speaking your name in rooms you haven't been in type of vibes. This is why it's important for you to switch the way you see yourself. Okay? You basically are the archetype of a architect that that creates legacies. Yeah. Don't overwork yourself feeling as though that's going to allow you to be more successful, because it's adding to where you are, have this level of fear of failure. You overwork, you make more mistakes by going in a direction that is not conducive for you. And now it's putting you in a position to fill that bag up of failure. Remove the essence of you having to prove your worth. It should lessen up your load immensely. Look at this, 8 of coins showing up again. Somebody, you're masking your feelings with work. It's not going to do it anymore. It's not going to cut it. And what you're doing for work may not even be something that is what you desire to do. Clear up whatever shame this is you have around success, or the expectations that your parents had of you, or whatever expectations you feel that you have over yourself because you are a parent. It's creating a severe state of imposter syndrome. You're more than enough. Okay? Let's get to it. You are more than enough. Just, temper yourself, love. Temper yourself. You have the ability to do many things at once, but that still doesn't mean you should overwork yourself. Out of all those things that you're doing, many of them at once, are all of those things you truly desire to do? Just make sure you're doing what you love, for real. Queen of Cups. Blue Jays could be of significance. They also have codes for you. Look at the time. Listen to how many times they call out. If they call out 4 times, let's say they call out 3 times, then 1 time, then 1 time, then 4 times. Look up that code in gematria and see what in that list of gematria that you can go deeper into, because it's giving you more information, the missing link to hidden truths. And this is something regarding messages that your ancestors are giving you through Blue Jays. Grackles. Hidden truth. Ooh. For some of you, this is a grandmother of yours that's a Libra, or you were really close to your grandmother, and she basically telling you, stop playing with me. You overthinking this too much. Watch who it is you speak to about what you're doing next. 144:15. Watch who it is that you're speaking to about this next step, this new level that you're going to. Not from a state of fear, but just being more, Why are you here with that energy? Oh. There's something. Why they keep arguing? About an inheritance? Because the 5 swords is covering this castle. Yeah, Jesus is my brother. You ain't getting to him. So, none of them people actually read the text at all. None of them people read the text at all. The King of Swords. Someone keeps arguing about a strategy, how to do something. What's the hidden truth? Put it to rest. That's Libra. Jupiter and Libra here. Someone wants to carry out a strategy that is still connected to grief. One cannot have the strategy of this inheritance from a state of grief. Because it blocks the heart chakra in one making a decision, a conscious, harmonious, loving decision. We always get in Swords and Pentacles. Saturn and Taurus. These are both Venusian energies. The hidden truth is, from this grandmother, I can't help you while you still hurting or grieving. The abundance is too massive. That one still holding on to the energy of grief would literally drain that entire inheritance to zero, as if it never even existed. Because there's a certain strategy that has to be carried out. There's certain clauses within the contract that has to be read in a specific way. And only the one who carries that gift can see right through it. Grace. We turn that water of grief into wine. We turn grief into grace. The person with this gift has managed to turn that rage into righteous clarity. And fear into fierce compassion. Sort of the essence of that grandmother. That's why the Empress is in reverse. She showed up before, but she said they wasn't ready. She said, I showed up before, but they weren't ready. Show me the way you're tempering them, because temperance is before the devil. Becoming the alchemist so you can clearly see your inner authority about the life you've lived, so you don't do it again. Handshake. How did you show up before? It's a challenge you experience. Oh, fuck. Okay. 6/13, June 13th. That's Gemini. That's Ten of Swords. That was a betrayal. Who? Wow. Short-lived victory and success that transformed a certain partnership. Yeah, it had to get pulled away from you before it was depleted completely. 3 of Cups. Yes, that's what that is. Okay, 3 of Cups, and then the Sun card here, which is yes, and then the Ace of Swords, mental clarity. Don't argue this time. Don't argue about it this time. See it for what it is. See it for what it is. This message is giving you the mental clarity, so that way when you are calling in what it is that you desire, everything that could possibly block you from claiming it and stepping into your sovereignty, you're getting the awareness of the energies now, so that way you can move on from it. You may even, your path may even be shifted so you don't encounter that situation or those people to get into an argument, because that argument is going to send a signal to the universe that you're still in the process of being able to be a vibrational match to this level of wealth or inheritance that is coming your way, or something as simple as joy, allowing you to experience joy and bliss. It's not saying, you know, allow people to run over you or take your kindness for weakness. If you are aware of who those people are, disconnect yourself and don't argue about it. When you know your worth, you let your worth do the talking. If that energy even gets the chance to even, you know what I'm saying, see what's going on. All I know is that you better get ready though, because this opportunity, this investment, 7 and the 3 of Pentacles, it's already at your doorstep. You just have to move on towards it. You have to trust your intuition by aligning with your discernment. You have to be mindful as to what it is you're ambitious about. Don't say yes unless it's a holy hell yes. You may want to give yourself a little more time in solitude so you can really gauge your emotions. 4 of Wands. Triumphant success, 1111. So when you're seeing 1111, be mindful as to what it is that you are feeling, perceiving, because you can either send the vibration to a higher point or a lower point. You want to be very mindful of that 1111 and where you are at mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Page of Swords. I heard him watching you. I'm watching you work. I'm watching you work now. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Queen of Swords. There she go again. I don't know who grandma is, but she ain't playing with you. She said, you better get up out that mental conflict because your manifestations are coming. And it's that same Knight of Cups. It has to do with love here for some of you. And emotional fulfillment. Which means you're going to have to leave whatever that is not emotionally fulfilling you. Because it's not going to change. You want to step into your power, change the way you express yourself about your identity, the Emperor. At the heart of it, woo, the rewiring of your thoughts is already happening anyway with Uranus and Gemini. And the fact that it's retrograde, when it goes back into Taurus, all this rewiring of your thoughts is now going to be back into your body, the wisdom of your body. When it goes back into Taurus, is that in November? Whenever that is, when Uranus goes back into Taurus. It'll send that vibration or help you to reflect on, okay, when was it that you were presented with situations that you may have not listened to the wisdom of your body, but when it shows up again, you know how to move differently. You're not going to do the same thing you did before when the abundance arrived, you weren't able to master the lesson, because this is also 33. So you have to go through the lesson again, because the 3 and the 3 facing each other, that will make it an 8 in a sense. Okay, so these two, BF, B and Fox, be creative. We got creativity, cooperation, productivity, intuitive, observant, intellectual. You are being guided to change something in your life. Become inspired, follow your heart, and creatively build your future with today's decisions. Don't wait till tomorrow for that shit. Okay. You have no limitations and there are no boundaries to your capabilities. Any assistance you required will always be found. You are being guided to look beyond the shadow side of any relationship. Open your eyes, mind, and heart to the limitless opportunities around you that you have already created, but you won't see that unless you choose to. So get connected to the portal, 2211, that's 1011, that's a portal number. Align with it, go create, do your thing. Love you.